What is going on with Hop's sister? Now, this may or may not be Hop's sister. In fact, I'm not sure if these two people have ever been seen in the room at the same time. This might actually be Hop in drag. This was actually sent to me by Cody just a little while ago at Red Right Hand, but hilariously similar looking. Hop just has one of those faces that he ends up looking like a lot of people, Michael Jackson, random singers, and this politician lady, which is quite humorous. Now, to follow up on some of the issues that we've been having with the Palmetto State Armory JAKL, there is a few new things. So I've been testing this and shooting this lately. Let's probably pull this one instead, make sure the audio is off. But I've been having some issues with the JAKL, of course. Now, this should show you right here. So basically, I'm getting a lot of click no bangs because the bolt is not coming far enough back. And that is because one of the walk pins or one of the anti-roll pins or one of the pins that's holding together the piston is coming apart from the actual carrier itself. And I have close-ups of all of this stuff, but it's actually dragging on the inside of the upper receiver, which is gouging out material on the inside, which is quite nice. So in this clip, I'll back it up a few seconds for you. The rifle is set all the way open. So it has, I think, 8 settings, and it is currently all the way open. So you'll see it's barely ejecting. I got a click no bang, have to rack it. Get a couple more and another click no bang. Right. And I think that happened 5 or 6 times before I ended up having to move on to shooting it suppressed because I was like, it's not dirty. It hasn't been shot all that much in general. I think we're only sitting at about 500 or 600 rounds. And every 500 or 600 rounds, I find a new issue with it. Now, the issue here, as you can tell, now I took this B-roll without knowing what was wrong with it, but you can actually see here in this picture right here, this little nub, that is the pin that holds the op rod to the carrier, and it's walking its way out. Now, at this point in time, this is about 300 rounds later, it's actually come considerably farther out and is actually gouging out the inside of the upper receiver and causing a lot of drag, which is why it's not cycling.
So it sounds to me like if you shoot it enough, it'll clearance itself out and it'll work.
Well, this is the thing, though. There's a compounding issue. So now when I take the bolt out and I run the charging handle on the sled, so for those of you who don't know how it works, there is a metal sled that acts upon the bolt carrier group, and that's what your charging handle goes into. Now that metal sled has been gouged by that pin coming out. And because that pin is coming out, now the sled feels like it's going over rough metal on the inside if you're just racking it on its own, because the upper receiver is screwed up on the inside. Now, if I had sent it back to them when I had the initial issue with it, which is just that the upper isn't machined properly to begin with, I would never have noticed the other things going wrong. So now with just a few hundred extra rounds on it, we're having 2 other systems starting to go out on it. Now, a compounding issue with that is, let me show this, pull this one here back up onto screen. This is the JAKL bolt carrier group. But that's not the bolt carrier group that's in my JAKL. This is either a older version or a newer version, because they continually update each and every part on the JAKL. I think quite literally every single part in the chain has been updated. So this is the new version, I believe, and you can see there is no pin coming out the side. The pin is actually going vertically from top to bottom, versus on mine, we can see here, pull this one back up, not only is the entire op rod different, but the pin has been completely removed. So my review of my JAKL, even though I've only had it for like a month and a half, is already outdated. Every JAKL video out there is completely outdated because Palmetto State Armory has made, I think, 12 or 13 parts changes since launch. So depending on when you buy one, you're going to get a new issue. You might be dealing with an old issue. Maybe you don't want to buy a used JAKL, even if it's on a good deal, because it's not going to have any of the updated parts. And again, my JAKL is already out of date because they've moved on from old issues and probably created new ones. So that's one of the joys of Palmetto State Armory constantly improving, or at least changing their products. Talk about now, this is probably going to be familiar to a lot of you. This is the Palmetto State Armory GF3 AK. This is the most standard AK that they make. This, I think, goes for about $800 with the Magpul Zukov stock and the Magpul furniture. I think it's about $750, $800. You can occasionally get them on sale for less. And this rifle right here, this green version, has 151 5-star reviews. and no negative reviews whatsoever, which is very, very interesting.
That's so strange. Who would do
Now,
that?
the reason that they don't have any negative reviews on their website is because they simply delete them. Anybody who posts problems, I think anything 1 star almost gets auto deleted. There might be a couple in here that passed, but a lot of them just straight up deleted. So you can go through here and you can just
Have we caught him doing it? I mean, like,
so I've had
red-handed
people
doing it?
I've had people send me screenshots, and then later on they can't find it anymore, right? So they will leave a review, post pictures with their negative review on it, and then later on magically they can't find it anymore. So this has 151 5-star reviews. Now, review quotas and systems tend to be fairly negative because if you leave a review, it's either because it's the most amazing thing ever and you feel compelled to give a review, or you're just really defending PSA as a company, or you've had a terrible experience and you are very angry and you want to make sure nobody else buys it. So you can go look at their. Go for it.
I was going to say, isn't there like some sort of psychological effect where you're more likely to leave a negative review
100%.
if
100%.
than a positive review? Like it's either no review at all or a negative one.
You are much more likely to remember a negative experience than a positive experience. I think it's like 10 to 1 or something like that, which is why trauma sticks with people for so long. So yeah, this fake almost looking review stack is because it is fake, like all sorts of fun stuff. Now, PSA has also this is their GF3 piston on the left, and let me see if I can zoom in on this for you guys. Anyways, so you might notice it as he's rotating around in the carrier that it is bent. The one on the left is a Palmetto State Armory. The one on the right is a K&S piston, which is adjustable. Very nice. It's a nice way to tune down your AK. Now, we'll get to it. We'll get to it, Gary. Don't worry. Let me finish my thought. All right.
It was a super chat. I'm just pulling it up. That's all.
I will get to it. Don't you worry. But I'm already derailed. I'm gone now. Damn it. 12 minutes in. Anyways, so the Palmetto State Armory on the left, the GF3, obviously bent, right? You can see that it is moving as he's rotating it around because it is bent. So, right, so it's going around in a circle like this. Now, the K&S on the right, precision machine, very nice, of course, is actually straight, as it should be. Now, the defense here is quite interesting, so I will read this out. Anyways, this is from one of you guys at PSA. Hi, all. There is a tuning process that all new AKs go through to get their pistons aligned with the gas block. No, this is caused by the random thread indexing on these parts when they are made and assembled. In our process, the armorer will install the carrier, determine if the piston is leaning more heavily one direction or another, and then tune the piston to more closely align with the hole. That way, it is guaranteed to fit or to find home every time, given the slight wobble that is typically built in. This is another reason for the carrier being engraved with the last 4 digits of the rifle serial number, because it is tuned to that rifle and thus meant to stay with that rifle. This tuning process is actually documented in several AK armor handbooks. Thanks, Josiah. Now, this is absolute nonsense. You should absolutely be able to take like from like one AK bolt carrier group, again, like for like, and then put it into another one. But with this one, the original gentleman, he did some work on his AK and he put it back in and he noticed that he couldn't get the bolt home. Why couldn't he get the bolt home? Well, he didn't index it properly because, again, it's so bent out that it could not actually get into the gas block, right? Because it's that far bent out of shape. And they defend this as a tuning position, right? And this is how to tune your AK. I think that is just absolute nonsense. More than likely, they're just selling you bent or out of round pistons, which they just shouldn't be doing, right? And this is very similar to their JAKL setup as well, because it's probably even done on the same machines. So not a great sign. And that was some of the stuff that I knew ahead of my last Palmetto State Armory video. But I kind of just left a lot of that out for time or just for interest because it didn't really fit in. But the deleting of negative reviews all over their website. Now, if it's a Palmetto State Armory product, you can find negative reviews on their third-party stuff, like they sell optics and other guns and whatnot. You can absolutely find negative reviews there. But on their own stuff, it is very heavily curated. So fairly interesting. And again, that's stuff that I left out of the main video.